welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering India's small businesses such as yourselves and hand-holding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, I'm in conversation with a very young entrepreneur who is a multiple and a serial entrepreneur. I'm talking to him about his latest venture, which is getting a lot of attention. Also in focus tonight, Japanese major Rakuten. I'm talking to them about why they're so bullish on the domestic market. So good having you with us, Shantanu, and for the series of interviews and conversations that we're doing with young entrepreneurs like yourself. And you are young, but you were even younger when you decided to start. And this is not your first venture that we're going to be discussing today. You have done work previously that really brought you into the public eye. I will talk about all of that, but let's first start by talking about the reason that we wanted to invite you into our studios today, and that is Goodfellows. And this is a concept and a model and a service that is very unique. Where did the idea for it come about first?
Right. Let me just start by saying it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me and giving me this platform to speak about Goodfellows. Goodfellows came out of a personal story of sorts in 2020 when the lockdown was at its peak, to the extent that you weren't even allowed to step down onto the streets. I didn't have access to a lot of resources, and I can't cook for my life. So a lot of elderlies in my building, in Bombay was one of the old ones, full of people who have been there for almost 40 to 60 years.
Okay.
And they used to band together and make sure that I was okay. They used to make sure that I had hot meals even before they had. And one particular couple in particular I remember was the Punjabis, who were right opposite my doorstep. And every morning, Auntie used to come over with a hot plate of something or the other before even having Uncle have his food.
Okay.
And the only thing I had to offer in exchange for this kindness was time. And I had a lot of it. So I made it a point to visit their house and multiple houses in the building through the day. And very quickly I realized that what was just additional times being spent with them for me was an absolute necessity for them, to keep them engaged, to keep them wanting to have that feeling that someone is going to come to their house.
Okay.
And over time I saw that they used to wait for me. They used to wait for the time that they would get to spend with me. They would be keen to learn about my stories and my experiences because it made them feel relevant. It made them feel like they're living lives through young eyes again. And that's when I realized the benefits of intergenerational friendships, basically meaning that the further apart two generations are in a friendship, the more richer and the more diverse the exchange of ideas and experiences.
Okay. So what's the business model? You connect the older generation with younger people who perhaps have similar ideas. How does it work?
So the pairing process is very intricate, where we don't just send any young graduate that we have to any senior that needs companionship. It has to be a bond that gets created meaningfully and authentically, and like any other relationship or friendship that comes about, you have to make sure that the context is the same. So if people have similar interests, we ensure that they match together.
Sure.
If it's more logistical, like they have the same language requirements, we match them together. And we do in-depth background checks on both sides just to ensure that the pairing process is the right process, because once that relationship starts, then it's either going to go a good way or a bad way. Fortunately for us, it's always gone the good way. The business model, however, is a freemium subscription model. The freemium model is basically 1 month, which is 30 days of free service. There's no liability, there's no paperwork, and all the seniors have to do is experience this firsthand and decide for themselves if it's adding any value in their life, and if this chronic issue of loneliness and not having anyone around is in fact getting fulfilled. On the 30th day, if they feel that it is in fact adding value, then we can move to the subscription phase, where they pay a small affordable pensions fee, which is not a premium fee, but it's very middle class and lower middle class segments, on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And that fee ensures that a young graduate, empathetic as we choose them, goes to their house every other day for a few hours.
Okay.
In addition, we also plan monthly events for them. We put in a lot of effort to make it exciting and interesting, where they can get to meet other seniors and other good fellows, as well as a couple of emergencies thrown in where they have to go to the doctor suddenly, or if their mental health is not doing great and if they want to talk to someone and want a good fellow to come over, we absolutely accommodate that. But everything grandkids do is sort of our underlying informal punchline, and we absolutely stick to it.
Okay. One thing that you said sort of, sticks out for me, and you said that in the first month there is no, paperwork which is involved. And do you get questions around the safety of the young people? The young people are the ones who are called good fellows, and the older generation is called grandpals. So how do you ensure then that process in that 1 month perhaps is being handled?
Right. So none of our security checks are bypassed because the month is premium month. All the logistical background checks on both sides, and heavier on the Goodfellows side, definitely happen. Okay. It's the 7-tiered process in terms of recruiting these Goodfellows who are full-time employees of the organization and not volunteers.
Okay.
So the basic background checks like the police checks, the court and criminal background checks, the previous employment checks get handled absolutely. In addition, we have a 3-person interview process in 3 separate interviews in 3 separate environments to assess where they're coming from. And there are informal interviews with me and the founding team to understand what their personality is, what their intentions are, and if they truly have that sense of affinity towards elders, because that's the ingredient we want. Additionally, we have designed an in-house psychometric test, which our psychology students have designed themselves, which don't let you understand that you are being evaluated, but it's giving us an empathy score and an emotional intelligence score, which also adds to the process of vetting. All of this culminates into a 2 to 3% conversion from interview to actually converting them to a good fellow, because we also put them on a month-long probation to observe them with seniors. So it's a very stringent process on the Goodfellows side to ensure even in the freemium that it's a safe environment. Additionally, we have relationship managers who constantly check in with the seniors every week to see how everything is going. Additionally, every Goodfellow is required to post a debrief in the database as soon as they step out of the senior's house in great detail as to what happened, when it happened, and we sort of go through those to evaluate if there are any red flags or if there are things we need to address or what things are working. And on the senior side, the grandpal side, we first absolutely do introductory visits. We evaluate their households, we evaluate their personalities, and we try our best to ensure that it's a safe environment for the Goodfellows to enter also.
We're talking essentially loneliness amongst the senior citizens, right? That's essentially where your business, and that's the starting point of your business model. My question is it largely an urban phenomenon?
It is more of an urban phenomenon, definitely true. Because I think the kind of hardships that plague the non-urban environments take so much more priority that loneliness sort of surfaces as a more urban phenomenon because of the social trends of how hustle culture and just work culture today is, especially post-COVID, where you really have to cling on to your jobs and make sure that no matter what, you are always employed. Because after COVID, things have shaken up so much that people do whatever necessary to provide for their families in urban settings as well. Where if you have to go abroad, you have to go abroad. If you have to move cities, you have to move cities. And unfortunately, the seniors who can't follow them everywhere are the ones that get impacted. And that's where the loneliness in urban settings sprouts from.
So how do you then scale this if you are largely talking to an urban audience?
Right. So surprisingly, we have requests both from urban and tier 2 cities as well. But scalability is both interesting and a challenge today because we have the demand. There's just no ignoring the fact that every city in India and every state in India wants this to be implemented as soon as possible. We have requests that have been documented in the thousands from every part of the country, even if we are not present.
And you're just a few months old, right?
Just a few months old. Since the launch, our helpline doesn't stop ringing, and we are slowly getting there. But as you can imagine, because of the stringent recruitment process I mentioned for the Goodfellows, it is essentially a mining process where you're mining these empathetic individuals. Because empathy cannot be faked, it cannot be manufactured, you have to discover it. And discovering it in a sea of individuals and mining those individuals is a time-taking process that we refuse to compromise on just because the demand is there.
Okay.
We could meet the demand today by recruiting in hordes, but if we are not following the process, then it will collapse in a matter of months because there's safety involved, there is authenticity involved, and the most important value around which our entire company is based is empathy involved. So we will scale slowly because of this particular factor, but we've sort of accepted that because we tend to this like a small garden that we've cultivated, and like any garden that grows, ours will grow and we'll tend to it properly, but we won't be meeting the demand just for the sake of it.
Okay, so then my last question to you, what next? What do you want to leave us with?
What next in terms of entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Either personally or professionally.
I think I enjoy giving away all of my experiences. And during the lockdown, I had started a small course called On Your Sparks, which used to teach entrepreneurship to
On
people.
Your Sparks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I used to give like 6 basic lessons of entrepreneurship to students who need it, because in the institutional education system, we don't have proper entrepreneurial curriculum.
Okay.
And we are the startup Indian ecosystem and the young entrepreneurs are so obsessed with fundraising and the glamour of it that they forget to look at the fundamentals which nobody is really teaching them. So I sort of tried to scale that program and it worked really well. But in the future, I think I want everyone to have the knowledge that I have so that they don't have to go through the mistakes that I might have faced.
Okay, fantastic. It's been a great interview. Thanks for taking the time and coming down to our studio.
Thanks again for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
I'll slip into a short break. When we come back, I'm in conversation with Rakuten. More on the other side. Just stay tuned. Back in just a moment. Welcome back. With us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. In the hot seat tonight is Japanese major Rakuten. What are the biggest challenges in talking to this market that you faced?
See, I think a lot of it is awareness in terms of the support and infrastructure available to them. Like, for example, our 6 Sense product. A lot of them need it. And affordability is an issue because existing products in the market is from large companies, for example, Cisco and others, tend to be, challenging for them. And also they're sort of new to online. I mean, they're first time online, companies, right? So they need to be handheld a bit. The product might need to be customized a bit. And so, but we have worked around that. We've got multiple sales channels, like dedicated sales support to reach out to this market. We have partners that, we are working with, large scale system integrators in India, through whom also we reach a lot of these SMBs. So that's how we deal with that.
Let's talk about this office that we're sitting at here in Bangalore, your India headquarters, the largest outside of Japan, the second largest in Asia. Why was it necessary for you to perhaps have an office of this size, to hire the kind of people that you are at a time when everyone's talking layoffs, everyone's talking digitization, and you're going ahead and hiring so many people?
Yeah. So I think at some point, maybe 3-4 years ago, Rakuten Inc. Reached a point where we made a decision that we are going to go all in on India with respect to talent, with respect to infrastructure, because we've, as a company, Rakuten means optimism,
Okay.
in Japanese, and we are all about taking risks. We are all about continuing to grow new businesses while scaling existing businesses. That's how we went from one business 25 years ago. This is our 25th year of operation, to 70 plus businesses. And at the scale that we are operating in, 1.5 billion users globally, 70 plus businesses, petabytes of data, 24/7 operation of these businesses, no chance for any downtime, and so on and so forth, it became very apparent to us that technology is not a means to growing businesses. Technology is the business.
Okay.
Right? And business is an outcome of great products and technology. So where else in the planet are you going to get world-class products, builders, and world-class technologies? There's probably only 2 or 3 places in the world: San Francisco Bay Area and Bangalore. And given we are going to continue to build new businesses, hey, just in the last 1 year, we've launched a telecom business, and we are launching a healthcare business.
Okay.
So all of these things sort of came together, and that's the reason we took a bet in India that we'll build a largest technology center outside of Tokyo. Perhaps in a few years, it might become the number 1
Okay.
largest technology center.
How many people do you have here at the moment?
So we have 2 offices. This office here has capacity for 3,000 employees, but we currently have about 2,000 employees here. We also have an office in Outer Ring Road in Bangalore, which is purely focused on our telecom business. That also has, close to 2,000 employees there.
Okay. There are always questions raised about being able to find the quality of talent. You listen to any expert from any industry and they're saying it's so difficult to find talent. How are you bridging that gap?
See, I think it all boils down to culture. Right? The difference between us and another company is not going to be based on just the brand or compensation on things like that, because we are all strong brands, we are all international brands, we all pay relative to market. The differentiation comes down to who are you, right? And for us, that's all about risk taking. A lot of our employees are with us and continue to be with us because, like I told you, we build businesses every year. Every year we build a new business, a new product, a new technology. And they just love that, right? Our ability to not just manage our legacy businesses, but continuing to reinvent ourselves. So that element of risk taking. Bottoms up innovation. We are a company where innovation is not driven tops down, right? Employees in fact, this 6 Sense product was built by an intern from IIT who joined us 3.5 years ago.
Amazing.
He came and built it and showed us a proof of concept. We said we're going to take this innovation from a prototype to a technology to a product to a business.
What is he doing now?
He's still in the product. He's one of the architects, and he's in the 8th floor. Okay. He's still there. He's the chief architect of this product line. Imagine, he built a multi-million-dollar business. Yeah. But we enabled him with the ecosystem to make this happen. Okay. I mean, that defines our DNA, right? Sure. And we are all about empathy. Look, you know what the market is, what's going on, right? There's a lot of layoffs, there's a lot of business challenges. We have that as well. We are not immune from all of that. Yeah. But till date, our first line of thought is, let's be conservative in our future investments as opposed to retrenching current people. Let's redeploy people to where things are most needed as opposed to retrench people. Finally, the last worst case option, we may get there. But as of now, that's not our first thought process. We don't have any plans as of today to let people go. Okay. So for us, it's all about empathy, right? Because these people have invested their time, their resources, their lives being with us. And we would like to provide whatever opportunities we can, even during troubled times, and consider these kind of things only as a last option, right? Which comes back to the cultural DNA of being Asian. So it's what we call leadership with a heart, and that's who we are.
Okay. Speaking of heart, you're also very closely involved in CSR.
Yes.
You do a lot.
Yeah.
Just 1 or 2 of the passion projects that you have that you could talk to us about.
I mean, we are doing a whole bunch of things. We are partnering with one of the member of parliaments in Bangalore in order to revive a heritage school to provide the same quality of international education to public school children that private schools have access to. Okay. We rescued and we are maintaining a lake in Bangalore so that an ecosystem of birds and snakes and fish and all of that come together, and we've given livelihood to so many people who support this infrastructure. And we are very, very big on education. We have funded over half a dozen educational institutions, teacher training and so on and so forth. More than crores of rupees invested in making sure people who don't have access to education now have access. Teachers are trained to a level where they make education exciting for kids. So we are very committed to education as part of our CSR for the long term.
All right, then my last question to you. I know you've spoken about a few things that you're looking forward to, but what's the last word that you want to leave us with in terms of just the potential of the India market and what you're looking forward to?
I mean, India is on fire. Whether it's SaaS companies, B2B, we have 20 unicorns in India in just SaaS, or B2C companies, whether it's the Flipkarts, or the PhonePays. We are leading the world in fintech. You look at US and other countries, they're still like 5 to 7 years back. When it comes to fintech, banks are still old school. They use ACH for money transfer, which takes 24 hours. Yeah. I think we are just going to redefine technology for commerce, fintech, and healthcare. We are going to have more than 100 unicorns in SaaS, and we're going to be the world's third largest economy in the next 3 to 5 years. So if you want to be anywhere in the world for the next 3 to 5 years, it's in India, and it's more importantly, it's in Bangalore.
And with Rakuten.
And with Rakuten.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Out of time in tonight's conversation. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.